The Clement Manyathela Show, in conversation with the Mineworkers Investment Company, celebrating 30 years of the MIC on 702.
It's 24 minutes before 11 o'clock. We are in conversation this morning with the Mineworkers Investment Company as they celebrate 30 years of the MIC. So this year basically marks a major milestone for the Mineworkers Investment Company. 30 years of purpose-led investment, transformation and impact. I mean, from empowering mine workers and their families to building long-term value across multiple sectors of the economy. It's really grown into one of South Africa's most influential black-owned investment companies. So to reflect on some of the milestones, the partnerships and the road ahead, we're joined by Cynthia Pongweni, who's the Acting Chief Executive Officer at the Mineworkers Investment Company. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
I always, when we celebrate these big milestones, want to go back a few steps, right, before we even look at what it's achieved. I mean, when you look at the MIC, it was born out of a union-led vision through the Mineworkers Investment Trust. Why was it important at the time for mine workers to move beyond wages and create an investment company?
So, Clement, I think at the time in 1995 when we were formed, the Mineworkers Investment Company was formed really out of a vision of the then National Executive Council of the NUM. And as you say, at the time, the realization was that the National Union of Mine Workers is not just about wages. It's not just about better living conditions. But mine workers are individuals that have hopes, that have dreams, that would like their children to have a better life than they have. It's about restoring dignity and really about bringing hope and a future for their children as well as their dependents. And it is on that basis that the NUM set up the Mineworkers Investment Company as well as the trust in 1995 with seed capital of 3 million rand.
Sure. And I mean, now it's become, one of the first 100% black-owned investment companies in the country. What have been some of the major milestones and achievements in the MIC's past 3 decades?
So it's very difficult to narrow them in such a short space of time. But I think maybe just starting with the 3 million rand seed capital, we have been able to grow that 3 million rand seed capital to 8 billion as of 2025, with a target of growing it to 10 billion by February 2027. So that for us is a key milestone that we have achieved and are looking to track as regards the 2027 target that we've set for ourselves. I think in that time, we have paid the single largest dividend paid by a union investment company to its shareholder, which was the 245 million rand dividend paid to the trust in 2008. And over that period, Clement, since 1995, we have paid more than 950 million rand in dividend to the trust, so that the trust is able to fund the various projects that it runs through its implementing agencies. And for me, I think the true highlight is really the number of lives that we've touched through the various implementing agencies. So as an example, through the JB Marks Education Fund, we have more than 2,200 graduates that have gone through the program and graduated across various fields of study. As we speak, JB Marks has approximately 700 students at any point in time in their system, with 250 burses granted every year. And that really is significant for us because, as you know, education breaks the cycle of poverty, not just for the individuals, but for their families as well as their communities. We've also touched lives through the Mine Workers Development Agency, which does social upliftment projects for communities that mine workers come from. So predominantly your labor sending areas of South Africa and our neighboring countries. And they have touched more than 1 million lives through social upliftment programs, agricultural programs, food security programs, and SMME programs. And maybe finally, just to touch on another implementing agency, the Elijah Bahai Memorial Training Center. They run approximately 6,000 accredited courses every year, which are aimed at improving the lives of existing mine workers.
Sure. It's fascinating. In fact, I remember there was a time when at a bursary orientation, when one woman said, I am here because my father went underground so I wouldn't have to. and just seeing just the success and them having these great opportunities, again speaks and is testament to the achievements you speak of. So the MIC is often described as an active equity partner, not just a passive investor. What role has it played as an active equity partner with its investees?
So, Clement, we tend to take stakes in our investee companies that provide us with influence and ability to make a difference in terms of our investee companies. So, because of the stakes that we take, we do serve on the boards of all investee companies that we own, regardless of the percentage that we hold. And that allows us to work together with our investment partners as well as the management teams to formulate and drive strategy, to ensure that we build businesses that are built to last, businesses that are sustainable. We assist our investee companies with growth initiatives in instances where, for example, they need to reassess their business models or pivot into different areas. We assist them with business development initiatives, with placement of individuals where they look to us in certain instances to help them fill key positions. And I think one other thing that we are very passionate about, Clement, is transformation. So MIC is a champion of transformation, and we drive transformation in partnership with our investee company management teams to ensure that all aspects of the scorecard are met, not just for compliance purposes, but to ensure that our companies are representative of the demographics of South Africa and are providing growth, stability, and transformation in all aspects of their businesses.
Yeah. When you look at your portfolio, what would you say have been some of the most successful investee relationships, and what has made those partnerships actually work? I mean, there's a lot. I know it's difficult because there's a lot.
Yes.
But just let's use some as an example, because I'm trying to figure out, how do you make the partnerships work so well for you so that not only are you able to make an impact through transformation, for instance, but you also actually get the benefit, like there's a return on investment?
100%. So I think the first thing is looking at the types of companies we invest in and what criteria they present. So we generally look at companies that have business models that are sustainable, companies that are have business models that are able to sustain whether it's changes in technology, business models that can sustain themselves during difficult economic times, business models that are cash generative, because as I indicated, we do need to make sure we're able to honor our own commitment to pay a dividend up to the trust. Then beyond that, Clement, I think the secret sauce is also in the management teams that we back. As MIC, we are not operators. We work closely with management teams. So we back management teams that are innovative, management teams that have experience and that are able to withstand whatever challenges that are faced on a day-to-day basis by their companies, but also take advantage of key trends and key growth initiatives. Another key ingredient to how we work, Clement, is in terms of the partnerships that we have with our fellow investee companies. So we believe that working together with other investment holding companies that are like-minded, that are aligned in terms of purpose and in terms of vision, helps us to put together our various skill sets and our various experiences to ensure that ultimately the companies we're co-invested in are successful.
Yeah. It's going up to 14 minutes before 11 o'clock. After the break, we'll continue this conversation with Cynthia Pongweni, who's the acting Chief Executive Officer at the Mineworkers Investment Company, as we celebrate 30 years of the MIC. Stay with us.
702, in conversation with the Mineworkers Investment Company, celebrating 30 years of the MIC on 702.
Yeah, it's 30 years of purpose-led investment, transformation, and impact, as you've heard from Cynthia Pongweni. And yeah, as we continue our conversation, Cynthia, you have been speaking a lot about impact investing because that's quite central to your philosophy at the MIC. What tangible effects of social impact by the MIC have you seen over the past, say, 3 decades?
Yes, so Clement, beyond the social impact that we have demonstrated in terms of the various implementing agencies that the the Mineworkers Investment Company works through, we make sure that our underlying invested companies drive social impact, particularly in terms of the communities that they work in and also the entities that they work with in their value chains. So if, for example, you look at some of our entities, we are very clear on the contribution they need to make in terms of social economic development to make sure that suppliers in their value chain are empowered and do have access to economic opportunities. Maybe bring it closer to home from an MIC perspective. We launched our impact investment strategy in 2021. And as part of that impact investment strategy, we focused on 4 pillars, which are digital inclusion, financial inclusion, education, as well as healthcare. If I just focus on financial inclusion, we launched Kholisani Ventures, which was aimed at providing capital, equity capital, to black businesses that owned black founders, that have businesses that are scalable, that are tech-enabled, but that were unable to grow further because they could not access funding from the traditional funders, simply because a traditional funder is going to ask you for a track record. So through this, we have funded a number of black businesses, which include the likes of Curo Health, Rentosa, and through that as well, we've also funded businesses such as Too Much Wi-Fi, which is a business that provides accessible Wi-Fi to townships and previously disadvantaged areas, particularly in the Cape, but moving up to Greater Gauteng. We have also seen that our contribution has not just been capital in those particular businesses, but it's helping them grow in terms of ensuring that they've got governance structures that sustain them through their growth phases, making sure that they've got route to market to make sure that their products are able to reach the consumer. So through our impact investment strategy, Clement, we have seen growth really in those businesses, and the multiplier effect when you look at the employees that they employ, the families that are represented, the customers that they touch, the lives they touch broadly, and the ability for them to bring products such as healthcare, such as insurance, such as digital connectivity to environments where previously those environments could not access such products.
Yeah. We were talking earlier on off air about just the bursary system.
Yes.
And I'd like you to share some of those details with the listeners. So normally, how many learners do you have and who actually qualifies? Is it just the children of the mine workers or, some of their dependents as well? So
for you to qualify for a JB Marks bursary, you need to have a bachelor's pass and you need to be a dependent of a mine worker. As you know, in our African culture, we don't just look after our children, we look after our dependents and the broader community. So as long as you are a dependent and have a bachelor pass, you then qualify for a bursary. I think, Clement, it's important to highlight that you do not have to pay back what you are given as a bursary, and you do not have to work for the Mineworkers Investment Company, the NUM, or the trust once you have completed your studies. It really is just an intervention to assist children and dependents of mine workers to access education so that they're able to have better opportunities going forward. In terms of the number of bursaries, in any given year, they currently award approximately 200 to 250 bursaries, depending on each year. And at any point in time, you have approximately 700 students in the system. And this ranges from first year all the way through to postgraduate studies.
Yeah. So you don't reach, of course, this milestone and have such a return on investments without some tough lessons along the way. So what would you say have been the toughest lessons the MIC has learned over the past 30 years?
So I think if you look back and if you think about investments as a sector, it does come with its inherent challenges that you can't fully ever mitigate. I think some of the tough lessons that we've learned were, if I look back to the 1998 crisis and as well as the global financial crisis, I think we learned some very important lessons around being prudent when it comes to the debt levels that we have in our businesses, because the economy can change very quickly, and with that change, you might find that the debt levels in your entities become unsustainable, notwithstanding the fact that your underlying businesses might still be really great businesses. So I think that's a very key lesson, which has really spoken to our prudent approach to how we invest and how much debt we take on in our businesses. I think another very key lesson that we learned was the importance of diversification. So we have always tried to maintain a diverse portfolio, because when you go through those difficult periods, not all sectors are going to be under pressure. And what you'll find is that as long as you're diversified, you might have media under pressure, but your digital sectors, your connectivity sectors are doing well, or infrastructure is doing well, or energy is doing well. So there's a very big lesson that we've learned around diversification and how diversification sees you through difficult cycles. I think a third lesson that it is who we are, but I suppose it is a vindication that comes out of some of the difficult times that we've had, is the fact that we're a long-term shareholder allows us to, go through those cycles, not panic when we do encounter speed bumps, because we know that our long-term tenure allows us, as long as you've got a business that is fundamentally solid, allows us to work through the difficult times and come out of the end of those difficult times even more resilient than when we went in.
Those are actually important lessons for any investor, right? What do you look forward to in the next 30 years, in the next 10 years as the MIC? What are you looking into?
So I think as we look forward to the next 5, 10, 30 years, there is an element of sticking to our knitting that comes through, simply because the need for MIC to remain a sustainable business that is able to fund the Mineworkers Investment Trust still remains. So we need to make sure that we continue to diversify our portfolio, we continue to grow our businesses so that we're able to pay a dividend up to the trust every year. But in doing that, Clement, we are obviously a lot more ambitious than we have been in the past. And our ambition includes, investing in sectors that we have not had exposure to before, or themes that present themselves currently that present good investment opportunities. So as an example, we currently are not invested in education, specifically ed tech. The broader healthcare space is one that we don't have exposure to. In terms of key themes that we're pursuing, themes around e-commerce, which came alive post-COVID, themes around financial inclusion, as well as fintechs are themes that we're also pursuing. Infrastructure, in particular digital infrastructure, is a space that we are very interested in. And I think from taking bolder moves, we are also looking at diversifying beyond South Africa, because we do recognize the fact that there are opportunities beyond South Africa. And as we turn 30 and as we graduate the next level of growth, we do need to take calculated risks beyond South Africa, but obviously with the right partners and in the right territories, to make sure that such diversification does not disadvantage us in terms of the sustainability of our portfolio.
What territories are you looking at? Is it mostly the African continent where you're mostly looking to focus on?
So we will look at the African continent and beyond. Yeah. I think what will drive the specific territories we will look at is really around issues such as the English speaking, manner of doing business, the legal structure in those entities, but most importantly, investment partners that we can work with in those territories, because we are a small organization, relatively speaking. We do not have the capacity to go it alone. So those factors are what will determine the specific territories that we will look at as we look beyond the South African borders.
Well, Cynthia Pongweni, congratulations on your 30 years and all the best with the next 5, 10, 30 years.
Thank you very much, Clement, and thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. Cynthia Pongweni is the Acting Chief Executive Officer at the Mineworkers Investment Company.